because there was no mention of that at all. So they had a table and chairs in the ring again, just like they did on Friday. Contract zone. Sami was standing stoic initially on one side of the ring, away from all the other members of the Bloodline. Roman handed the mic to the wise man, and of course he took his seat at the head of the table.
Odin's eye is on you, brother.
Heyman got some ECW chants since they were in Philadelphia.
This forest is a blind spot.
And Heyman acknowledged the chants. Hey, look at this. Trish just subscribed to the channel, getting the Oscar thumbs up. Where's Oscar?
I've seen it in
Where has
some
Oscar
conflict of the mind expresses itself as an ailment of the
acknowledged the ECW chants?
God.
And he told his tribal chief, he said, my tribal chief,
I can only imagine.
TW is dead. And he said, and I wish the same for Sami Zayn. It's kind of harsh, right? So the fans chanted for Sami. Heyman called him a Judas. He's been in a conspiracy with Kevin Owens, he said, since day number one. He's been making them feel like the fans of Philadelphia. He said he's been making them feel like the fans of the Philadelphia Eagles. And they're going to feel like the fans of the Eagles when they get conquered by a rock. And then he said, Purdy of the San Francisco 49ers. And boy, did he get booed for that. That was great.
Hey there, it's Ryan Seacrest for Safeway. Spring is in full swing, which means it's time for spring cleaning. Don't worry, we've got everything you need to stock up on spring cleaning essentials because a clean home is a happy home. Shopping store or online for spring cleaning favorites like Method All-Purpose Cleaner, Swiffer Heavy-Duty Mopping Cloths, Lysol Bathroom Cleaner, Scotch Brite Sponges, and Clorox Disinfecting Wipes and Save. Offer ends April 22nd. Promotions may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Safeway.com for more details.
At the UPS store, please turn away your worries and your sensitive documents. Shredding services and bids are provided by agriculture and access spaces. Most locations are independently owned. Visit UPSstore.com/shredding for more details. The UPS store, be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.
Heyman then presented us with 4 exhibits. First up was footage from the August 12th, 2022 episode of SmackDown. Sami Zayn was with the Usos outside the Bloodline locker room when Drew McIntyre jumped them. And as Drew McIntyre was kicking the crap out of the Usos, in the background, you could see Sami Zayn run away. So that was Exhibit A.
Woman, do you hear me?
Next up was footage from the August 29th episode
I'm
of
still
Raw.
a god. Go away.
Sami Zayn had a chance to hit Kevin Owens with a chair during a match with Jey Uso, and he hesitated. And Kevin Owens ended up hitting Jey with a stunner and pinning him.
Inside.
And footage from
This is no
Spires
ordinary illness.
back
Your
on
true nature,
November
your true
26th,
nature
showing
fights
Sami
within you.
Zayn sitting on the very top of the cage, posing. This was after the War Games match. This was after they went off the air. We didn't see any of this. But Sami was sitting on top of the cage. He was looking down at somebody, and he was going four. It was something like 4 line. And Heyman goes, "What are we? The NWO? Are we the 4 Horsemen? Are we the Dangerous Alliance? I love the Dangerous Alliance."
The keeper that protects the bridge of the damned. I need it.
Forward to SmackDown, 2 days before Christmas on December 20th. There was that in-ring promo with the Bloodline where Sami Zayn got all fired up. Remember that? He cut that great promo.
Fires can
During the promo, as he was
magic
looking in
in
the
all
hard
the
camera, he
9
brushed
realms
up, just
created
barely
gods.
brushed up
As for
against
the
Roman
dead,
Reigns.
Your frost axe
And
will
Paul
be
Heyman
used
said that
only to
it
find
was an
the
assault. He assaulted Roman Reigns. He called Sami a rat bastard, said that he was guilty as charged. Another ECW candidate. He said the prosecution rests its case.
This boy is not
Then it was time for Sami to defend himself.
and he
The
needs
fact that Paul Heyman would sit there and put him on trial to defend himself.
this room
He said that
opens
hurts.
the bridge to hell.
He said, I guess what I'm saying is that my
under
defense
any
is that I
circumstances
have
cross the bridge of the damned. There is no road back.
Roman Reigns could not believe what he had heard. He grabbed the mic and said, you don't have a defense.
You must hurry.
He said, you have so
Do
much
not
of an
bargain
ego
over
that you
passing
won't even
to my
fight
boat.
for this
Take it.
because I give you
Turn home, dig up your
opportunity
past,
after
do whatever you
opportunity
need to
after
do to
opportunity. And this is what you do. This is the respect that you show me. He says, Solo. Solo Sikoa casually walks behind Sami Zayn. Sticks out his thumb. It's about to give him the Samoan spike. And who should come to the aid
When last we
of
spoke,
Sami
I
Zayn?
was
No.
All people.
You were right
Jey
to
Uso,
distrust the word of a god. No
Uso
need to-
comes over, he stops Solo's to go, and got a big pop.
I will keep him safe.
Jay told Roman that I put my own footage together last night, Uso. I want you to take a look at this. Roll the tape. Defense Exhibit A. SmackDown, June 3rd, 2022. Usos beat Matt Riddle. After Sammy was in the production truck, he had played Roman's theme music, which distracted, I assume it was RK Bro at that point,
Helheim of
and
all
not
places.
some kind of handicap.
You all right, brother?
But the
I will do
distraction,
what I must.
Sammy playing the music or having them play the music
As
in
you
the
wish.
truck, is what led to the Usos winning the match. SmackDown, August 19th. Drew McIntyre was about to hit Roman Reigns with a Claymore kick when Sami Zayn got in the ring. He pushed Roman out of the way. He took the bullet for Roman Reigns. He ate the boot of Drew McIntyre. SmackDown, September 9th. Sami again takes the bullet in the form of a chair shot to the back. SmackDown, December 9th. The Usos beat the Brawling Brutes, and it was Sami Zayn who grabbed Sheamus by the leg and prevented him from getting back into the ring in time to break up the winning moment. Survivor Series. Kevin Owens gives the stunner to Roman Reigns. He's got him dead to rights. The referee counts 1. The referee counts 2. Sami Zayn comes over. He grabs the referee's hand to stop him from counting 3. Moments later, he gives Kevin Owens a low blow, kicks him right in the balls, gives him a haluva kick, helps the Bloodline win War Games. Except that Sammy took so many bullets for the Bloodline, the guy is basically bulletproof. He admitted that he didn't like Sammy at first, but Sammy never gave up on him. He said that's what family does. So that tape right there demonstrates to him loyalty and love to this family. He goes, hey, Sami Zayn, I love you like a brother, Us. 100. He said, so if you want Sami Zayn to stay in the Bloodline, then throw your ones up to the sky. The entire crowd put their fingers up in the air. Jay put his finger up in the air. Jimmy put his finger up. There was one guy in the second row who had his finger up his nose, but everybody except for Solo. Solo stood there with his arms crossed because he just doesn't sell. Crowd chanted Sammy Uso. Roman stood up. He said, as our tribal chief and as the head of the table, I find you, Sami Zayn, not guilty. I felt like I was watching an episode of Law and Order. Guilty, he says, for now. He said, I want you to look at Jay and thank him because he bought you time. He says, so here's how it's going to go. You're going to finish out tonight, and then I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you again until Saturday in San Antonio at the Royal Rumble. He said that is where you are going to deliver your final test. And then we're going to see if Sami Zayn really is the Bloodline or not. This was a fantastic segment. This was storytelling at its best, as it has been really now for many, many months. But, to see all of the footage that they pulled together, kind of laid out like that, Exhibit A, B, C, D, E, and F, and so on, really brings it home. And for it to be Jey Uso of all people, think about where we started with this story. For it to be Jey Uso of all people as the one to come to Sammy's defense and save his skin. I love it. Roman, you have Roman holding court, you had Solo just standing there, he's the enforcer. That's his job. He doesn't smile, he doesn't crack, he doesn't laugh. He didn't put his finger up in the air when Jay said, put your finger up in the air if you want to see Sammy be part of this family. He just stood. He doesn't have to. But he played his part well. Paul Heyman is the prosecutor. I thought he was great. I love just the look of disdain on Heyman's face. It's been this way for months. Every interaction that him and Sammy have had in the back has all been bullshit. It's all been this passive-aggressive just bullshit, right? There was a segment they had all those weeks ago back in, I guess it was last month, and God, who said what first? Basically, I think Heyman said to Sammy, how was your Hanukkah? You had a good Hanukkah? And Sammy was like, well, sure, it was as good as your Ramadan. like every segment between them has been gold. As soon as Sammy walks off, even his big smile on his face, as soon as Sammy would walk off, he just would have this scowl on his face. And tonight he could not hide his disdain for this one. But I have to give a shout out. I have to give a shout out to John Holland of Post Racing. And what I thought was the absolute feat of what he put up on the screen. The only thing the trials Sami Zayn was being in the ring. That's the words. Not guilty to the jury. There's going to be a lot of people who are like, what is that? It goes right over their head. If you know, that's a fucking great tweet. If you don't know, you know. During Vince McMahon's steroid run, back in 1990, I covered many times on the podcast. One of the things, this is a full circuit run. One of the things that happened during the trial is was important. And he was seen mouthing the words not guilty to one of the jurors who was trying to influence or intimidate one of the jurors. And he was actually warned about being held in contempt of court if they're doing it. So I saw that, I said, what a fucking crazy. What a fucking crazy. Now, the reason that the segment we saw tonight is not called, this replaced what the original plan. The original plan was they were going to have a bloodline acknowledgement ceremony for Roman Reigns. And per Dave Meltzer, he says the reason that the segment did not happen was because Rikishi got sick. He didn't say what it was, COVID or what, but Rikishi got sick. And Alpha and Sika could not make it for whatever reason. Now, Alpha is like 80 years old. Sika is probably almost 80 years old. So it could be for any number of reasons that they were not able to make the show. But whatever they had planned, the creative changed late last week, and we ended up with the trial of Sami Zayn. And honestly, seeing how this segment ended up playing out, I'm not sure that segment would have been better than what we got today. Sammy's final test is going to be at the Royal Rumble. Again, they did not bring up the contract issue from Friday at all. They did not play into things at all tonight, so, again, is it going to come up again? It might. It's possible that we still haven't seen this play out yet. But I still feel like they should save the Bloodline beatdown for after the Rumble. Having watched this segment tonight, I think there's definitely a chance, depending on what this final test is going to be for Sami Zayn, that it could go down to Saturday. Maybe the final test, unless they tell us what it is on Friday, maybe the final test is going to be a beatdown of Sami Zayn. Prove his loyalty to the Bloodline. He's going to take a beating for the Bloodline. As a way to kind of take that his A game, and that will lead into the finish. Because Kevin Owens is not winning the championship on Saturday. But he's also not just going to keep pinfall off. Sami Zayn is going to play a role in the outcome of this match on Saturday. It all hinges on what this final test is going to be. Does he get waxed on Saturday? I don't think we'll save that for a big dramatic TV segment sometime after. Maybe the Friday after. But seeing what they did tonight, there's a better chance that maybe something like that goes down on Saturday. This was great. This was a great opening segment. This is the first 30 minutes of the show. The Usos and Sami Zayn, they stayed out there for the opening match, which was the Usos defending the Raw Tag Team Championship against Damian Priest and Jailhouse Dom of the Judgment Day.
Distance between you and the truth.
Sami is the referee. I've had a few people ask me about that. What do I think of Sami Zayn possibly being the special guest referee for the match? It's possible. But that's something that I think they would have to announce in advance, so we would know, I think, by Friday if that were the case. Is that maybe something that Owens wrote into the contract? Again, if it was, I don't know why it wouldn't come up there. But could he be the referee? Sure. He doesn't have it. All he has to do is be a racist. He will factor into this match. The entire story revolves around Sami Zayn. He can't not be involved in this.
But I am
Raw Tag Team titles only. for gratitude. Finn Balor dropped Jay on the top turnbuckle at one point, even though Balor was not in the match. But the referee caught him, and he ejected Balor from ringside. Jimmy then hit a suicide dive out onto, I want to say it was Priest. But he came up late, and he was holding his knee. And he was selling it real well. To the point where I just kind of held my breath and I said, oh, close to WrestleMania. And Jimmy has a history. Look, Jimmy Uso tore his ACL. The reason we got banned at Jey Uso a few years ago was because Jimmy was out hurt. So I saw him clutch his knee, and I thought, oh, this is not good. The referee held up the X. Officials ran down to assist. It was clear pretty quickly that it was all part of the story. Those first, 15 seconds was some shit. I mean, there's never a good time to get hurt. This thing is fucking terrible. So he says he can't continue, but they're helping him down the aisle. And here comes out. He rushes out with the microphone, checking up. Can't continue. Sure. Sami Zayn steps in, and he said he might have a solution because Adam Pearce was trying to throw the match away, and it would be important to the judgment that he can't. Sami said, look, I might have a solution. We have one Uso hurt, but Sami Uso is ready to go. And the fans like that idea. Pearce said, I did it once for the Judgment Day. I'll do it again. The match continues. Priest and Dominic against Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. I appreciate the involvement to the tag team involvement match a few weeks ago when Balor got hurt and Pearce allowed Dominic to stand in his place, which is why Dominic and Priest got the tag team title. So I like the fact that he at least called back to that and said, well, I did it for them, and so I'll do it for you guys. It is so dumb. The idea that Jimmy gets hurt can't continue. And so the only thing left to do, I'm sorry, I have to throw the match away and award the titles to the judge. Why would you?
Helheim, yeah?
How many times over the years have we seen somebody get hurt in a match, walk out on their partner, and it ends up being a handicap match, and they have to go it alone? And the match continues. And yeah, more often than not, that person loses. Why all of a sudden does Adam Pearce have to throw the fucking match? Mine. WWE, literally tomorrow night, this is unbelievable, tomorrow night on NXT, they are advertising a women's tag team title defense. It is going to be Caden Carter and Caden Carter and Katana, these fucking names. Katana Chance and Caden Carter, my God, defending the NXT women's tag team titles against Alba Fire. Literally tomorrow night, we have a 2-on-1 defense of the NXT women's tag team titles. Explain to me why Jey Uso can't go it alone. Why they did this? They wanted to get Sami in there. Why would Adam Pearce? You know what? We make up the rules here as we go along. I know, yes. I wish I had my copy of the WWE rule book here, but I seem to have misplaced it. I don't have the rule book laying around, so we'll just move it. Why ask? Sami, the crowd loved the switch though. They were ready to see Sami get in the ring. So Sami hit a flip dive out to the floor onto Damian Priest and Dominic, but he was distracted by Priest, which allowed Dom to schoolboy him in the ring, got his feet on the rope, and he only got an earful. Sami kicked out. And after that, Rhea Ripley distracted the referee, which allowed Damian to hit the South of Heaven chokeslam to Sami Zayn. Made the cover for a very close near. Jay popped back in. He doled out super kicks, but stopped short of super kicking Rhea. Yet again, Rhea Ripley gets involved, and she says, "Give me your best." She is teasing Jey Uso. She's daring Jey Uso. Hit me, do something. Right? But of course, we can't do that. Right? We can't have Jey Uso beating up Rhea Ripley. So she's daring him to do this. And all of a sudden, Dominic kicks Jay from behind. He ends up in the ropes. Dominic hits the 619, follows up with a frog splash. Sami breaks up the pin at the last moment. Sammy made a blind tag before Jay super kicked Dom, and then Jay and Sammy gave Dom the 1D. Sammy made the cover and pinned Dominic. The Usos retained their Raw Tag Team titles. They cut backstage. Roman Reigns is watching this on a screen. Paul Heyman is with him. Solo Sikoa is standing there. And Roman turns to Heyman and he says, "He made it through the night. I don't want to see him again until Saturday. You make sure I don't see him until the run." That's my tribal team. Roman was not overly impressed. This was fun. And again, the crowd enjoyed seeing Sammy Uso step in there in place of Jimmy. But the thing I was most happy about, they didn't change the titles. I thought there was a real shot that we were going to have new Raw Tag Team Champions. I thought that a few days ago. But, I don't know, coming in tonight after the opening segment, I didn't see the titles changing. I'm glad they did. The titles should be kept as is until the Usos drop them to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. And then coming out of WrestleMania, you can split them, you can draft one to one show and one to the other. Until WrestleMania, the Usos should remain tag team champions and not be beaten by any money. So I'm glad that they did. Backstage with JD, they were shown walking in the back. They crossed paths with the Godfather, who I think just had a hip replacement. He had some kind of big surgery a few weeks ago. But he was moving around pretty good here. JBL and Godfather hugged. MVP were wasn't MVP? I don't know. Godfather checked his list. He wanted to know if Baron Corbin was up. He goes, "I don't see anybody named Baron
Pretty
or
sure you weren't talking to me back
any
then.
other name. Corbin.
Anything you'd like to get
Sorry,
off
brother,
your
you're not on the list." But what?
chest? I'm sure you are
Was the
unsurpassed
bouncer
in
now?
keeping confidence.
Godfather used to own his own club. He used to manage a Cheetah's
And
club
for
out
the
in
record,
Vegas. I don't think he does
I'd
it.
already guessed you were
I think now he has his own line of marijuana.
dead giveaway.
That's why he's so happy. Every time I see Godfather, he's got a smile. You live the life the Godfather lives, you'd be in a good mood all the time, too.
Hey there, it's Ryan Seacrest for Safeway. Spring is in full swing, so take some time for self-care. Now through April 22nd, buy 2 self-care items and save $2. Shop in-store or online for self-care essentials like Tom's toothpaste, soft soap and liquid hand soap, Colgate Optic White toothpaste, and Colgate Total toothpaste, and save $2 when you buy 2 participating items. Offer ends April 22nd. Promotions may vary. Restrictions apply. Visit Safeway.com for more details.
At the UPS store, please turn away your worries and your sensitive documents. Payment services events are provided by Iron Man as business. Most locations are independently owned. Visit the UPSstore.com/ready for full details. The UPS store. Be unstoppable. Coming to your local store today.
So, what he was guarding was the APA protection. Remember the old segments? The APA knocking on the door first to go in, they'd be playing their game. So he was guarding the door. There was a poker game going on behind. So Godfather knocked on the door. Ron Simmons came out from behind the door. He hugged JBL. We had a little APA reunion. Corbin gave Simmons and Godfather a couple of wads of cash to get in. All of a sudden, they were like, "Oh, wait, you know what? I missed it. You are up." So they bring JBL and Corbin through the door. And then we see that they have this big area set up with multiple tables and multiple poker games going on.
I'll be keeping my
It's got a mix of main roster talent and legends. I saw Tozawa and I saw, DiBiase was over there at DDP. So this would be a recurring theme throughout the entire show tonight. We have multiple segments in the back with the poker games so they can get all the legends on camera for their quick demos. Back live to the ring. We're still commercial free. And LA Knight is in the ring. Let me talk to you. SmackDown. He said Bray Wyatt brought back the Firefly Funhouse. He said a grown man incel playing with puppets and spooky music, and I'm supposed to be afraid of them. Meanwhile, this guy is living off past glory. And it got him thinking, it's Raw 30. We've got legends also who are living off past glory. And if any of them want to come down, he'll give them a preview of a pitch black match at the Royal Rumble at their expense. Then we heard the gong. Big big reaction for the gong, the Undertaker's music. But then it switched over to Kid Rock and American Badass. I'm guessing the last time we heard American Badass on this television show was over 20 years ago. And here comes the Undertaker on his motorcycle, slowly. He was not speeding down to the ring. They don't have the ramp anymore. It's not as fun. It was more fun when they had that long ramp down to the ring. There's no ramp. So he's driving very slowly. He's actually got his feet up. He looked like fucking Fred Flintstone the way he was kind of pedaling this thing. Anyway, he did his little lap around the ring with the motorcycle, turned it off, got in the ring. He did the American Badass. Oh, remember when he was the American Badass? He would come to the ring and he would go like this, you know, go to each corner of the ring, go like that. We haven't seen him doing the American Badass thing in over 20 years. So it was cool. You know, for nostalgia purposes, it was cool. I'm sure Vince McMahon was probably, gritting his teeth because he never liked the American Badass. Which is why for so many years they didn't make any mention of it.
Freya's given you the travel room to
At all.
Helheim.
When Undertaker had his WrestleMania matches for Triple H, they never even aired, and it was almost like the match at WrestleMania 17, which just so happens to be, for a lot of people, the best WrestleMania of all time. You would think the match never existed. So it was cool to see him back up in this American Badass game. So LA Knight said that he heard what the Undertaker said on Joe Rogan about the locker room being soft. And he says, I agree with you. He actually gave Bray Wyatt as an example. But he said that doesn't apply to me. He said he was going to give Undertaker a fence. He was going to let him live to see another day and enjoy his retirement, but he wants him to watch the Pitch Black match, the Royal Rumble, because after that, he's going to be the new Lord of Darkness. I'm telling you, man, LA Knight, I hope, when this program with Bray is over, I hope they got something good lined up for him. I think, hey, Austin would be a fine program for WrestleMania if you want him working with the third roster guy. I'm just saying, he deserves something good for WrestleMania. Lights went out, and we heard Bray Wyatt's music. He showed up behind LA Knight with a lantern, which spooked LA Knight, who started to back up towards the ring again. He backed. Wyatt began to slowly walk towards him. This, I have to tell you, this had an incredible, to me anyway, an incredible laughing heat. You've got The Undertaker out there. You've got Bray Wyatt, who, when he does his big entrance and everything, he's still over. Most weeks he comes out and fans are into it. This crowd was
Let me take
very,
this moment
very
to tell you that what you're about
like,
to do is
shocking.
absolutely insane. Not even Odin can
I
survive.
got into the ring. He got boozled by The Undertaker. He grabbed him like he was going to give him a chokeslam. Bray Wyatt got into the ring. And Undertaker, instead of chokeslamming him, he gave LA Knight to Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt gave him a quick kiss on the head, dropped him with Sister Abigail. Undertaker and Bray, they then stared each other down. We got a little stare down here. Again, very quiet in the building, but they had a little stare down. Undertaker got close to him, and he whispered something into his ear. Undertaker whispered something into Bray Wyatt's ear. And I know it was hard for a lot of people to hear it, but I can tell you right now, I know exactly what it was. And Undertaker told Bray Wyatt, he goes,
No, we're still in the realm travel bridge.
No.
We're after
Yeah,
the
it's
original
motorcycle
band.
insurance.
The dead use it to
Can I
cross
just
into
say
their
that?
permanent home, the city of Helheim.
he looked pretty happy with himself.
Reminds
And
him,
Undertaker
he's
walked
the one we want. Just follow this.
Bray
road.
Wyatt just kind of
Lead
stood
us
there,
straight
probably
through.
thinking to himself, hey, I could probably buy a phone.
I really hope never
So
to
they
see
queued
this
up
place
Kid
again.
Rock again, and Undertaker left on the bike. It was a cool moment. It was a cool moment to see Undertaker and Bray Wyatt in the ring together. It was cool to see American Badass back in one night. But, yeah, not just for him to share the ring with Bray Wyatt, but to give him the spotlight. And to say, you know what, this isn't about me chokeslamming this guy and killing some guy here on the main roster. You're the one. You're the star. You're the one who has the match with him on Saturday. Here you go. You hit your move. This is not about me hitting my move. This is a proper use of a legend situation like this on a show like this. And look, I'm sure it was cool for LA Knight to have the chance to work a segment like this with The Undertaker when only a few months ago he was a fucking modeling agency fucking head, whatever it was, modeling agency CEO on television. Hey, King. I see you. King HOU just dropped $50 super chats live on the stream. Been listening since 2010, he says.
One of the many
That's a
reasons
king,
he went
so I
back to
assume.
those blades.
Keep up the good work. Thank you, brother. Thank you for the 50. I appreciate it. Yeah, the thing that struck me about this segment, though, which are shockingly like, I don't know if it was a matter of people, if they were just too busy trying to get a good shot recording on their fucking phone, or what. All I know is that they had a packed house, maybe sold out, 16,000 plus in Philadelphia tonight. I was sitting here thinking, my God, you know, you got 16,000 people in this building with The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt in the ring going face to face. Like, make some fucking noise. Like, what's going on? But I enjoyed this. I thought this was a fun set. Backstage to the poker game. At one table, we had Corbin, Chad Gable, Otis, DDP, and Medusa had the women's title on the table that she won the Darby that night for many years. She thought that she won the hand, and DDP said, no, I have a better hand than you. Bang! So yeah, they all got their little big cameos here.
Only the newly dead should be here. There's too many. The gate must
I mean,
be
it's
closed.
still,
If the gate's closed, then it's true.
I'm not
Hell's
Stephanie. I'm just saying,
without
yeah,
the
back then, during that period,
call them
you know, she's come out with the ECW beret, the beret she used to wear on her head, and, you know, when she became the general manager of SmackDown and all that, so I'm giving her credit. So they lowered the cage ominously, which was probably a telltale sign. This was definitely an ominous part of the show, because this was the beginning of the second hour. Or as I like to say, this was the beginning of the end. My overall enjoyment of the show. We were supposed to get a cage match between Becky Lynch and Nick. As Becky was going to enter the cage, Dakota Kai and Io Sky ran down. So Becky went to go fight them off. She was outnumbered. They ran her into the barricade. They ran her into the side of the cage. Dakota had the chain from the cage door wrapped around her fist. She punched Becky in the gut. Damage control brought Becky into the cage, and Dakota locked the door behind her. So Adam Pearce comes running down to the ring, and he's screaming at Damage Control,
Now what?
trying to get them to stop. They're ignoring him while they continue to lay a beat down inside the cage on Becky Lynch. Pearce got a bolt cutter. He clipped the lock, and then the three members of Damage Control climbed three different sides to the top of the cage. Bayley sat there. She had the t-shirt. She was holding it out. She threw it down at Becky in the ring. And that was it. We never actually got a cage match. That was all that we got here. This was fucking lame. And according to Fightful, the reason that it went down the way that it did is because of the opening segment of the Bloodline. Apparently it went a lot longer than was originally intended. Because of that, Fightful, several segments had to be trimmed on this show, none more so than this. This segment here was the sacrificial. Becky Lynch and Bayley drew the short straw on the show here. And apparently, according to Fightful, they had two choices. They either do an angle and set up the eventual match, or they do a very quick 1 or 2 minute match. So they opted to not do a quick 1 or 2 minute match. Having now watched the entire show, they could have easily cut that Bianca Belair match with Sonya Deville. You know, fucking boring. And they could have given that time to the cage match, but hindsight is what it is. So Generation X out to the ring for yet another reunion. I've lost count of how many DX reunions that we've done. One of these situations where you look at the people who came out and you say, one of these doesn't really fit. We had Triple H, we had Shawn Michaels, we had X-Pac, we had Road Dogg, and we had Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was a Marvel Shield. once upon a time, and tonight Kurt Angle became an honorary member of DX. So he's now been a part of many different legendary factions in this company. Road Dogg launched into his shtick, and when he got to the part where he mentions the badass Billy Gunn, he looked over at Kurt Angle, he got stopped in his tracks, and he said, Kurt. As if he only first realized that Kurt Angle was out there with them. And they were all confused about why Kurt was out there, and Kurt said that he always wanted to be part of DX. And he pulled off his shirt to reveal a DX shirt underneath. So Shawn Michaels said that if he wanted to be part of DX, first he had to pass the test. And Triple H asked him, are you ready? Kurt said, is that a test? Triple H said, never mind. And he continued on with his spiel until he was interrupted by Imperium.
They came here.
Out came the Intercontinental Champion. We have Walter,
Time
we
doesn't
have
move the same
Kaiser,
between
we
all
had
realms,
Vinci.
especially where the
Made their way to the ring. We got DX on one side of the ring, and
The
we had
opposite, in
Imperium
fact.
on the other
The
side
Lake
of
of
the ring.
Souls feels faster than Alpha
Walter
time,
called them a
but
bunch
hell
of
is much
degenerates for
slower than
making
the
a
dark.
mockery of this great sport.
Sorry, I'm sure
He
that's
said they're
confusing.
here to restore the honor to this
Back to my
precious
son
sport,
the sooner.
to kick them out of their ring,
Ah, aren't you a quick
unless
study?
any one of them is going to do something about it. Triple H went nose to nose with Walter, and then he backed away and said, I'm retired. The crowd chanted for HBK. Shawn Michaels said, I'm too old. X-Pac said, I've got a really bad case of the shin splints. Road Dogg said, who am I kidding? I'm not going to fight. And Triple H called Road Dogg Butterbean and told him to go wait over there, and I laughed. I laughed because Road Dogg's, he's been hitting the kibbles and bits a little hard these days. So they all huddled together, and then they looked at Kurt, and Triple H said, well, Kurt said, Kurt's like, no, I didn't. No, I won't. Triple H said, we're in a bit of a jam. We're in a bit of a jam. I wish there was somebody willing to come out and fight these things. So cue Seth Rollins. And now he comes. Shawn Waltman said, wait, there's only one of him, but there's three of them. Wouldn't you know, out came the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins to even the odds. H said, this booking stuff isn't easy. Said, it's not like you can just book things on the fly and everybody knows what you want. If only there was someone who could come out here and make sense of the situation. My heart skipped a beat. My heart skipped a beat. I was waiting for it. I was waiting. I could hear it in my head. Hear it in my head. No chance. That's what you got. And I'm like, no. But instead, it was Teddy. Thankfully, we got Teddy Long. Teddy Long came out to block everybody in the ring on Twitter. And he told them, he said, hold on, player. He said, I've got the perfect idea. He goes, Imperium, tonight you're going to go one-on-one with The Undertaker. He didn't say that. That was a missed opportunity, actually, with The Undertaker being there. But he said, tonight, Imperium, you're going to face the Street Profits, and you're going to face Seth Rollins in a six-man tag. Shawn Michaels then said that we're going to need somebody who can keep all this chaos under control. Kurt Angle said, hey guys, they were like, Kurt, just, we're trying to figure this out. Like, well, guys, because I got an idea. And he pulled out this DX deal a red, white, blue stripe revolution underneath. So we got ourselves a special referee. Well, hey, at least they didn't bury it the way that they buried it at Raw 25. So after a break, Jerry Lawler joined Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves on commentary. He said he was wearing the same outfit. He had the opening outfit around. He said he was wearing the same outfit that he wore on his very first night on Monday Night Raw.
Valhalla.
And Lawler was wondering where Michael Cole was, which was probably a shoot because there ain't no fucking way he
Only
wants
the
this show.
worthy dead go there. The warriors who
He
die
couldn't
in
pronounce
glorious combat.
Luther's name either. He called him
Hell is for
Uthar.
those who die in dishonor.
He called him.
Aye.
That's what he
And
called
those dead have
He
been.
called him Guthar,
Hey.
which is what
It
I
is
think I might call
dishonorable to
him.
grow old.
Well,
Lawler also
Too late to
joked
go
with
out
Corey
fighting,
Graves.
I
They were
suppose.
making fun of Kevin Patrick, and they said, "Do you think this Kevin guy is going to make it to Raw 31?" And they all laughed, and I laughed too. No, he won't. Ford and Dawkins, they put Vinci and Kaiser in dueling ankle locks, much to the delight of Kurt Angle. Gunther then boot. I can't even say that with a straight face. Oh, Jerry Lawler. You picture Jerry Lawler. Oh, he's like writing notes feverishly in preparation, doing his research for the shows. Give me a fucking break. He doesn't watch any of this shit. He shows up and he's like, "What do you want me to say?" He's gonna be on the kickoff battle for the Rumble in San Antonio on Saturday. You think he knows about any of this shit? Anyway, Gunther booted them. Oh man, he booted them and he got in Kurt's face. So we had a little face off. I'm gonna call him Walter, otherwise I'll never get through it. So Walter and Kurt had a face off, and he kind of put his finger in Kurt's chest. Kurt gave him a little shove. He hit Rollins with a power bomb and a stack pin. So Rollins came back with an angle slam. Rollins then hit a superplex to Kaiser, and then he assisted with the Street Profits in a double-team blockbuster. Montez Ford was on the top rope, and he gave him a crotch shot as he came off with the blockbuster, and the crowd actually popped for that. Rollins gave Walter a pedigree, and he then rolled to the apron. Smart enough to roll to the apron. Dawkins gave Vinci a spine buster. Ford hit a giant frog splash. And Rollins hit a curb stomp for the win. So the good guys, they win the match. They're celebrating. Kurt, you know what? I gotta tell you, Kurt was moving around pretty good. For a guy who had a double knee replacement last year, he had to get up and down, right? I mean, Kurt was on SmackDown a few weeks ago. When you're a referee, you gotta get up, you gotta get down, you're bending your knees. He had a double knee replacement last year. They tell people, you get a knee replacement, don't get them both at the same time. It's painful. It's kind of a lengthy recovery. Kurt was like, I'm going to get them both at the same time. Let's just knock them out. He looked pretty good. He was moving around pretty good out there. It's always good to see Kurt. It's good to see Kurt in a good place doing well. Kurt Angle was one of those guys who was on the path to destruction. There's no other way to say it. Kurt Angle should not be here right now. Pills he was on, the way he was drinking, right? Remember, he was getting arrested every other week for DUI and DWI. He was going down a very bad path. And I'm sure he's in pain, and his arms are atrophying and everything, but he seems to be doing very well. And he's one of those cases where it's like, thank God, I don't want to wake up one day and read that Kurt Angle was found dead somewhere. So to see him doing well, I'm always very happy. It makes me happy just to know that he's in a better place. And by the way, in this match, we got a limited dose of Rollins and Walter, which is a match that I wouldn't mind seeing. From what little we saw of it here in the ring on this show, I would not mind seeing that again. So we go back to the poker game. I said we have one long extended night of poker games here on this show.
How to have fun, anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Count to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games, all for free.
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Woohoo!
Pursuing the Dreamkeeper helped the dead
and
live
live the Chumba life.
I don't
Visit
expect it will.
ChumbaCasino.com.
I don't suppose it will make things any worse either. It'll be one less obstacle for the living to reach the inner
So we
sanctum
go
of
back to the
Helheim.
poker game,
But who'd be
and
mad
Corbin
enough
got
to go
4
there?
aces. And the $1 Million Man slammed his hand down in anger and he walked off. But IRS showed up. And he told them, don't forget to pay your taxes. And he opened his briefcase and he put all the money, all except one single $100 bill that he allowed Baron Corbin to hold on to. And Ted DiBiase came back, he had the $1 Million belt over his shoulder, and he said, everybody's got a price. And he cackled. Ron Simmons came over and he said, damn. I have to say, the funniest IRS captain I've ever seen on the show. And there have been a bunch of them over the years. There was a Battle Royal. I actually think it was the 15th anniversary of Raw, where there was Battle Royal, Legends Battle Royal, and IRS won. And then DiBiase came down, and DiBiase opened a briefcase, I think he had a briefcase full of money. He gave IRS the money, and IRS then eliminated himself to give DiBiase the win. I always thought that was kind of an amusing cameo. But the best IRS cameo was when Bob Barker guest hosted Monday Night Raw. This is back during the celebrity guest host era, which largely sucked. Bob Barker was the best celebrity guest host they ever had. And they were playing a pricing game. It was the one where Chris Jericho came out, he had his name tag on his
making sure the dead are really dead.
And
What is that he holds?
IRS just asked
That totem
Bob,
contains a powerful
what
source
do
of
you mean on
magical
this DVD?
energy, the very power of
and
Valheim
IRS goes,
itself.
Bob, does that bid include taxes?
Just take it and we can
And
leave.
Bob, in the most exasperated way, Bob Barker's like,
You
does
can
that
do that,
include
right?
taxes? Just the way he said it, I just started cracking up. You know, Bob was great that night. And they had a little a still image of him on the show tonight. Bob was great. He just got it. Like, he got it. He understood it. But he's also somebody who spent over 50 years on television. So he gets, like, he knows how to perform. And of all the things they did during that guest hosting era, his appearance that night, Price is Wrong, was my favorite of all. So Kathy Kelly interviewed Bobby Lashley backstage about his U.S. title match later on with Austin Theory, which we were told was now no disqualification. Is Bob Barker still alive? The answer is yes. I believe he either just turned or is about to turn 99 years old. So yes, Bob Barker, believe it or not, is still alive. Well, Lashley name dropped Brock Lesnar. As soon as he mentioned the name Brock Lesnar, I thought, angle alert. So he said that I took care of Brock already. Because I'm going to take care of my little suspension. And tonight I'm going to take care of Austin. And I'm going to win back my United States Championship. MVP showed up. And he wanted to talk to Bobby Lashley. He said, look, I got to go down. We're going to win tonight. Oh, shit. And then we can go out and celebrate. Lashley said, look, I don't need your help. I didn't need your help. You were Omos last week. And he wanted to handle his business on his own tonight. And he said, all right. So Lashley take care of it. Flair said diamonds are forever, and so is Monday Night Raw. WWE has given him so much. The greatest gift they've ever given him is the chance to watch his daughter exceed all of his goals. And he said that he is so honored as a father, as a wrestler, as a fan, to be here tonight. He introduced you to a very special guest. First, Eric Bischoff. And he didn't say that, but he said the greatest women's champion in the history of WWE. The greatest woman champion, he said, in the history of WWE, Charlotte Flair. So we got the SmackDown Women's Champion on Monday Night Raw. So Charlotte came out, and I did that maybe for a second there because, you know, when you get all the chance on TV, I thought maybe he was going to introduce us to Lacey Evans. Maybe he would introduce us to his love child. Whatever happened with that? I guess it got dropped. Kind of like the person who came up with that angle in the first place, but they got dropped in their head as a child. So Charlotte came out, she hugged her dad on the way to the ring. She came to the ring and she said that Raw is the place where they revolutionize wrestling. She said that she may be the SmackDown Women's Champion, but Monday Night Raw will always be her home. That brought out the Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair.
What are we doing?
Bianca came out, she gave Charlotte props, said that I go here. And it turns out to make sure that Raw is the greatest show on television that is beyond me. So Sonya Deville interrupted. She asked Charlotte if it was worth it to fly Daddy all the way here tonight on this show to introduce her on a show that she doesn't even belong to. She's got to question Bianca thinking that he will actually watch the show to see her. She reminded the two of them that she used to be the one running the show. She belonged to General Manager for over a year. Where's my recognition? John said that she owes Sonya the cheap shot that she'll give her, but she suggested that Bianca go and take care of Sonya. Bianca liked that idea, and during the break, the match was made official. Well, that was certainly a segment. Not a very good one, but that was certainly a segment. And that gave us Bianca Belair one-on-one against Sonya Deville. They wrestled to greatness. Wyatt should have been the sponsor. Bianca tried. She was trying to get the credit, so it just worked for having done. So after a break, she got KOD, she hit Sonya. Bianca got up. She said that I didn't forget about you, Alexis. She said not her and not Uncle Howard. It's not her being announced as still the Raw Women's Champion at the Royal Rumble. So then we had Alexa popped up on screen. And she was sitting down at the back, like she was in her dressing room or whatever, when you're looking into the mirror. She was looking into the mirror, but looking at us, looking at the reflection of the camera in the mirror. She said, "Let me talk." I'm telling her. She said, "Let me remind you of this, because I am your only option." She said that she doesn't need Bray Wyatt, she doesn't need Uncle Howdy. Tear her face open with her bare hands, but she can spare her eyes so that she can watch her walk out of Royal Rumble. I like that line. I like that line about how I will spare your eyes so that you can watch me teach you and walk out of Royal Rumble. So I like that line. I think the idea that happening is but it would be ridiculous to take the title off Bianca this close to WrestleMania. That's my thoughts on it. I thought it was an underline. We got another very good Cody Rhodes Cousins video. This video mentioned that being in the ring is like oxygen. He really needs to breathe in. So he's back in the Royal Rumble match this Saturday. He said he's back to finish the story. That's the goal. I am back to finish the story. John Cena was officially announced as the cover boy for WWE 2K23. And we have an image on the screen. There he is. And John Cena is the showcase mode for the game. And you can get that as a pre-order bonus. How's that sweet? I want to money. I hear these carrots and lettuce went to the gym. It's like a power it starts chewing on it. That's how he fills his energy bar. If you want to play his Bad Bunny, he has a pre-order bonus for 2020. What do you mean you couldn't see it? You couldn't see it. He was right there. He was on the screen.
That's it then.
Been a glitch on your end. So it was 10:30, and The Miz was in the ring bitching about this being the 30th anniversary show, and not yet. He always snuck up behind him and talked to him with his son. That if Stone Cold did not become if Dr. Rumble is going to have a match at WrestleMania, like the Austin's going to be back from time to time. I don't, probably better for Kevin Owens to just stop using this stuff. There will always only be one man who should use this stuff. His name is Stone Cold Steve. I know Austin gave him his blessing and everything, but Austin wasn't wrestling. It just doesn't feel right to me. If Austin is still going to be wrestling, that there's somebody else using it. But Owens, he still had his Jake Briscoe armband done. Right. We all that Roman Reigns.
Oh shit.
They said, you might have said Sami Zayn's not guilty. Let me tell you what you're guilty of. Killing the championship. On Saturday night at the Royal Rumble, I gave you and everybody in this building and everybody at home my word. I will do everything in my power. Everything I can to change that. Everybody has to see and be proud. This Saturday, I'm taking that title from you, or I'm going to die. Miz got back up, so Owens gave him a second strike. Paying very close attention to what you say. You have a babyface going out there and guaranteed victory. You need to deliver on that. Guarantee that he was going to Joey. Joey Wagner. Joey Wagner with the $18 pain super chat. Pain sounds like so he did not guarantee that he was going to champ. He said he would do everything in his power to die trying. But he's not short of guaranteed. So I think that's very important. You never want to send your baby face out there. Guarantee win, and he goes in there and he loses. He didn't do that. First was winning his United States Championship on last week. No disqualification. They came back Bobby Lashley 60 seconds later. They went to this is the downside of getting versus Rio. They just download all the hours. It's not like you don't get them. Well, you get them. But you end up in a situation where every 90 seconds you get picture-in-picture or they go to a commercial break. And in the middle of the main event, especially, you go to the break 2-3 times, it just kills time. So Theory had himself coming out of the break. Lashley got something in his eye. So Theory had he grabbed the chair. He hit Lashley in the back against his nose. Then he wedged the chair in between the foot. Lashley knocked him over, but Lashley said after Theory tripped him on the air. And then he pulled out the tape under the ring. And to give you a sense of how this crowd came across the night, because it really wasn't just one segment. Anyone else would have been better wrestling. This was a big episode of Raw. You can expect a lot of games on the show tonight. People half buildings now. They were like one of these just those games at the time, like, wow, energetic. Hit this spot. Great.
Got my ass. You fuck.
Didn't get a great reaction. It got a reaction, but it did not get the kind of reaction that the table usually the table